You have been listening to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu address the UN General Assembly. Quite a few stunning moments here. I will start with what we just saw, essentially an act of protest, but also applause, just more rowdiness, more activity than you typically see right here in the chamber of the United Nations. This began before he even started speaking with essentially a protest, a walkout of several delegations forming a very long line, leaving the area before Prime Minister Netanyahu even began speaking. On the other end of the spectrum, lots of people clapping, cheering, bravo. We also saw Netanyahu have essentially props, visuals with him, something we have seen him do before in front of the UN General Assembly. You can see that on your screen right now, almost like this quiz, as you could see, A, B, C, D, E, all of the above, as he runs through some information that led up to what we've seen happen in Gaza. Also, we heard from the Prime Minister something sort of stunning as well, saying that he had essentially put speakers surrounding Gaza, and he spoke, he said, directly to the hostages, first in Hebrew and then in English, hoping that they could hear him saying that they have not forgotten them. I'm going to bring in NBC News International correspondent Matt Bradley. He is in Tel Aviv with more on this. Matt, a lot to unpack here. I think let's just start with the top, with what we saw happen before the Prime Minister even started speaking. This protest and this applause right within that chamber, I think really just a picture of the differing of opinions on what we are seeing happen in Gaza right now.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, we've seen this with that walkout. You know, Prime Minister Netanyahu was addressing a largely empty room. There were quite a few people, some delegates, but there was a big walkout, dozens of people right as he took the podium. You know, this is kind of typical. We've seen this for years past. We've actually seen this from before October 7th and before Israel started its main incursion into the Gaza Strip. So this is something that is almost a standing convention at the United Nations General Assembly, this annual meeting. But, you know, we did hear kind of a greatest hits from Mr. Netanyahu, the kind of thing that he would say, the kind of thing that it really is the only thing he could say. He addressed a lot of the criticisms that Israel has been facing over the past 2 years and tried to take them one by one. But this speech was filled with some other sort of unconventional things that you mentioned. Props, maps. Now, he's done the maps thing in the past, controversially. This was the first time I've seen him doing a pop quiz. The trick with the QR code where he invited people to check to see what was behind that QR code. We haven't done that quite yet. I imagine it's a presentation justifying Israel's actions in the Gaza Strip based on how Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. But these were some interesting innovations for a speech that, again, was mostly hitting an empty audience, but that was seen throughout the world and, as you mentioned, beamed into the Gaza Strip itself by huge speakers.
Yeah, I want to ask more about that and the hostages in just a moment. But first, Matt, I think a quote here or something along these lines from Netanyahu was, the final remnants of Hamas are holed up in Gaza City. So kind of two questions here for you. I mean, one is just a reminder of what is happening on the ground in Gaza City, including the civilians that are there that have tried to get out and just the atrocities that we're seeing on the ground, but also kind of a reality check on what this means for the future of this. Of course, Netanyahu's stated goal, as I think our viewers are well aware, is to essentially eradicate Hamas. When you hear a sentence like that, it doesn't sound like this ends anytime soon. Is it a realistic goal to find the rest of Hamas in Gaza City?
That's a good question, but it's one that I can't answer. It's a question that everybody's asking, and this is something that we've been talking about from the outset. Look at the United States and Afghanistan. That was a 20-year-long war, one of the longest in America, or the longest in American history. The Taliban was not a sophisticated enemy, and the United States basically retreated in shame at the end of those 20 years. Many analysts have predicted that the same thing will happen to Israel in the Gaza Strip, that it is impossible to root out Hamas from the Gaza Strip. Indeed, top generals within Israel's military have said that they think that this is an impossible effort, that totally destroying Hamas is never going to happen, not only because of their defenses, their tunnel network, which, by the way, only a fraction of which the IDF has succeeded in destroying, even though those are inert tunnels that are lying there. The IDF hasn't succeeded in completely dismantling that system. not just that, but also the fact that a lot of people are saying that this war, Israel's war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip, will be used for generations as a recruitment tool. And you're now seeing on your screen the devastation that's been caused by nearly 2 years of conflict. This is definitely going to galvanize support for Hamas among those who want to seek vengeance. And that's why we're probably going to see Hamas's ranks replenishing even as the war grinds to a close.
Matt, let's now talk about those speakers and the message to hostages here. I mean, just also a time check of what's been going on here. We are 11 days out from October 7th, which marks 2 years since the atrocities that we saw happen within Israel, and also 2 years, of course, that the nearly now living, we believe, 20 hostages have been being held hostage. Tell us just about this sort of show from Netanyahu, what we understand to be, if you've seen or you know anything being there on the ground in Tel Aviv, about these speakers encircling Gaza and the purpose there being to get a message, hopefully, that the hostages could hear. How is something like that being received on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, well, when my team and I heard about this, we were pretty surprised. And a lot of people have said that this is really kind of a hallmark of this sort of dictatorship type stunt, you know, broadcasting this to a population of people who have been so badly beaten by the Israelis, of whom now, you know, so many have been killed, including so many women and children. It just seems to act. But when we heard Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu kind of explain what it was he was doing, speaking to the hostages directly through these speakers in Hebrew and English, it did clarify exactly what he was doing. But it sounds as though the whole speech was broadcast into the Gaza Strip. It's unclear now whether or not it was live translated into Arabic so that the Palestinian population of Gaza could hear it. But this was definitely the kind of stunt that you could put among the list of other sort of tricks that Netanyahu has pulled, some of them quite creative, during this speech. Again, this is not the first time that he's pulled these kinds of signs and maps and this sort of thing in UN speeches, but this was definitely a new innovation for Netanyahu addressing this public forum.
Certainly was, and that's a great point, Matt. Questions that we still have there, exactly. Who could hear that, of course, was not only the hostages within Gaza. Matt Bradley, thank you very much for joining on this. If you've been watching, we just heard from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressing the United Nations General Assembly here in New York. Began with a show of protest, quite a few people lining up to leave the area. Also, though, applause and bravo, quite a split screen there.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.